we're going to make some honeycomb collage paper, and I'm going to just use a cookie tray to help contain the mess when we paint. I've got black paper, white paper, just regular copy paper. The black paper is Bristol board that I cut down, and I will be using a paper napkin backing ply a little later on as well. I also like to use an old page protector to help protect underneath my work. Depends on what I'm doing. And I've got some bubble wrap here, which you can get anywhere out of any of your Amazon boxes, probably. So I'm going to cut down some bubble wrap into closer to the size of the paper that I want, and just use pieces of that. So you're going to cut it down, and then we're going to use it to create some interesting textures on different kinds of paper that we will then use as collage fodder in a collage later on. So there we go. We cut it to size. And I'm like, that's a little too big, so I will probably cut it down again a bit more. I'm using Brilliant Blue by Liquitex and cadmium yellow medium heavy body paints. And let's just I'm going to show you where I'm putting some paint over on a piece of wax paper that I keep as a palette, basically, so I can work away, paint, and create my collage paper. So cadmium yellow medium heavy body by Liquitex, and Brilliant Blue by Liquitex. I love it. It's a pretty pure color. And then I decide at this point, oh, I think that might be a bit too big to handle when it's covered in paint. So again, cut it as you see fit. The beautiful thing about collage and creating is that it's all in the moment, right? And that's the beautiful thing for our brain, is that what we're doing is in the moment, and we're just deciding as we go, and we're using what we know and learning new things as we go. So I'm going to just paint some of that blue acrylic paint on there, and then I'm going to print it onto that paper to see what I get. You can use, say, a rolling pin. You could use a glass, just push it down with your hand like I'm doing here. It's completely up to you, whatever way you like to do it. And I look at that and think, oh, yes, I like that. So now, of course, I'm going to do it again and again. And I've sped this up a little bit. And some prints are going to be more bold than others. Some are going to be less bold. All these things are going to make great collage fodder when I'm tearing this thing up and using it in my collages later on. So we create ourselves a really cute little piece of paper, and I'm going to set that aside to dry and start on the black. Now on the black, I decided I think I'm going to want to use yellow and see how that works. This is the cadmium yellow medium, and yellow paint tends to be typically more transparent, just so you're aware. So it looks a little more see-through when you're painting with it. And here we go, same situation. We just press it, roll it, use a brayer, rolling pin, whatever you have, and peel it back. And you can see that we get different textures, different heavinesses of paint, technically. And then again, I'm going to take it and I'm just going to squish it into a flower shape, I guess. I don't know what you call it. I'm just testing. I'm like, I wonder what will happen when I do this. And that's my favorite part about making collage papers, is there's an awful lot of, I'm wondering what will happen if I do this, and I try it and we see. So then I've added some white to the yellow to make it a little more opaque, because I know white makes things more opaque. And then I'm stamping it in with the shapes that you see there. And I'm thinking, oh, I really like that. It's kind of flower-like, kind of daisy. It's giving me daisy vibes. So then I just carry on, and you just keep using your paint and your bubble stamp, if you want to call it that, and keep going until you are satisfied that it is exactly how you want it to look, which you won't know until you get there. So you have some idea when you start with this, but often it's just oh, I like that. That's a whole different look than what I thought I was going for. But I was really impressed with how this came out on the black paper. And again, that's black Bristol board from the dollar store. Super easy. So now our blue paper is dried, and I want to add more to it. I could leave it like this, and I could make a print just like that and use that in my collaging. But I'm curious as to what will happen if I add now yellow and white to the blue paper. And I'm like, what will it look like? And see, again, we're just playing and having fun and discovering. And if I hate this at the end, I just put the paper aside and come back another time after it's dry and do more to it until I find that, oh, I like the paper, and then I'll use it in my collages. And remember, you're only going to be using torn bits and pieces from this paper. You're not going to be using the whole thing most likely. So it in itself does not have to look great. Okay? It's just the bits of it have to look good to you so that your collages look good to you. Again, collaging is all about your own inner artist experience, and that can only be determined by you, right? So I'm playing around. I love mixing paint colors. I've been doing it for many years, and I just mixed the blue and yellow together to see what kind of green I was going to get. You can see I've got splotches on there. Some are heavier than others, and that's okay because each one of these is going to provide great texture and dimension and interest in my collages. No single paper stands alone. Typically, it's going to be one of many papers that I'm putting in the collage that are usually blended or put together by color, and the color is the thing that does the coordinating. Now I'm pulling off the back ply of a paper napkin, which we crafters use a lot of times for decoupage. We use the front ply, but we always have this back ply left over, and we often wonder, what are we supposed to do with this? Well, I think I'm going to give this a try and see if this might become a good piece of sort of transparent collage fodder when it gets put on the collage. If I do this right, the paint will show up, but the napkin will sort of disappear into the collage. The same way it does when you use the napkin on decoupage projects. It should work the same way on collages. So now I'm going to just create honeycomb patterns on this napkin and this one single ply and see what we think. Again, blending my colors now and playing around with the paint. That's what I like to do. And there's no more fun than just like slapping paint on, sticking it down, and seeing what you get. Every single time is different. Whoops, there goes my brush. Every single time is different, and every single time is unique. And that's the beautiful thing about it. You'll never get the same thing twice. And that's how you're really getting into art, because it's really, you have to see the beauty in it. And when you see the beauty in it, you're going to see the art that you are making, and that you'll begin to believe that you too are an artist. Okay, so I like that. So now I just speeded the video up because I'm just going to carry on and keep going until I'm happy with the print. So I'm just adding, I know that I use this color a lot in my collages, so I add a lot of the blue and the yellow and the green mixed together. And then I'm making a print, and I noticed that I got some white paint on there, which clued me into the fact that maybe white would look good on here too, which is a great collage technique because white on your collages can add some real interest. So I decided to take a clean piece of bubble wrap and use some white and see if it would print on the napkin in the way that I thought. It's just a titanium white by Liquitex, and I'm going to put it on a clean piece of bubble wrap. And here we go. And I'm curious as to how it will look on the napkin, the ply, and I press it in and boom, you get what I expected, which is great. I get some sort of white print that I can use in my collages, and I can use pieces of this napkin to create what I want to create. So all of these different techniques were used to create these honeycomb sort of shapes and in the colors that I love, that will be some used in some collages, some will wait for others, but all of them were creative time, which I love. I spent an hour doing this with no problem, and I created a bunch of fun collage papers. I hope you'll give it a try.